Welcome to Resource Thursday with HacWare. I'm your host, Paco Lebron. This is the place to learn how to run your IT service business, whether you're a one-person shop or leading your team for the journey. This is the place for you. Let me go ahead and introduce our guest this week. We have Tiffany Ricks, CEO of HacWare. Tiffany, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Thank you for having me, Paco.
Oh, pleasure to have you here. I know that you and Rick both met at IT by Design's event Build It. He was impressed with your story, and we wanted to definitely make sure to have you come on the show, talk a little bit more about yourself, and also about a little bit on the business HacWare. But before we go into that, I just wanted to once again talk about earlier this past weekend, we did have TechCon Unplugged in Chicago. Want to thank all those that were in attendance. It was a great event. If you haven't heard our recap this past Tuesday, definitely go ahead and check out that episode on YouTube and on the podcast later on this week. Later on next week. And for those that want to stay up to date on next year's TechCon, which is September 8th to the 10th, go over to techconunplugged.com. Click on the bottom and stay up to date on the newsletter, and we'll make sure to let you know when more information is available. All right. Well, Tiffany, really appreciate you coming on and joining us this morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your journey and how you kind of got to where you are today.
Yeah, so my journey has been an interesting one. It started out really with my dad. My dad's an entrepreneur. I was one of those kids who just thought about building businesses. And so my journey starts with entrepreneurship. I'm a serial entrepreneur and started my first company when I was in college. So I went to school for computer science and love building. Like I love technology. I love solving problems with tech. And then the way that I got to where I am now was I worked for the Department of Defense, one of their top four defense contractors, L3 Technologies. And so they work with the Air Force and the Navy. And what they do is they provide surveillance and reconnaissance planes. And what I did for them is I worked first as an engineer, moved as a security engineer, and then I started working in red teaming. And so started trying to break into some of those Air Force systems and explain to them how a real hacker could get in. I left there and I started a consultancy that had a managed service side and did the same thing. So worked with that, brought them on as a customer, but many other organizations, whether they were a one-person business or a multinational organization, they wanted to know how hackers could get in. And so worked as an ethical hacker, breaking into their systems, showing them how a bad actor could get in. And that's how I came up with the idea for HacWare, because it was two things there. It was, okay, how do we automate this process of using phishing emails as a test to see are the employees in this organization, do they understand what phishing is? Do they know how to respond? And so sending those emails was something that I did and my team did, but it just became a manual process. It was labor intensive. And when you have a service-based business, you have to try to figure out how to best utilize your resources. And so I wanted to build a product that can automate learning from phishing attacks, sending those phishing simulated tests, and then showing the, hey, Rick. And then,
Hi, sorry about that.
and then showing the organization who is vulnerable to phishing, and then showing them how to train. And so we use that in-house for our consultancy. At the time, there wasn't anything really called like managed service providers, like it's a big thing now. And so we use that in-house, but then I decided, I know many other consultancies who have a need. They want to be able to provide this, product and use it inside their organizations. And so I did that in the Dallas area. That's where HacWare was originally found, in the Dallas, Texas area. And then I divested. I stopped doing our consultancy because I love building products and providing and building and creating solutions, with products. And so that was in 2019 when we decided to go with just HacWare, the product, the phishing simulation product. And then we decided we wanted to, if we were doing well, we expanded to New York. And so now what HacWare is really focused on is making security awareness easy for MSPs to educate their users on real phishing attacks through phishing simulations. And then it's going to automate that training process for them. And so they can have, you know, as much of a hands-on or hands-off, but we're really just trying to give them the tools and automation to really, you know, target the biggest problem that's plaguing us around the world, which is phishing. And so now we have partners throughout the world in about 8 different countries now, and we're really excited to keep growing.
That's awesome. I think there's a lot to unpack on kind of just on your journey alone, let alone and HacWare. I think that, you know, that's really cool that you know, you come from a family of entrepreneurs, right? And being able to dive into that. I know that, you know, this past weekend, we had Rick and his family, and they were kind of seeing Rick do his thing. And, you know,
Oh,
the comments was that, you know, being able to see that side of him kind of made an inspiration onto their own journeys, and not necessarily into the IT space, but, you know, to their own specific interest and what they're doing and things of that nature. And, you know, me being a father as well, you know, hearing my daughter says, "Hey, I want to go into engineering," but not knowing what type of engineering, and kind of going into that route. Right. So I think that's really great on being able to be inspired by, you say, your father, and being able to go into a route where that's, you knew where you were going to go. Like, that's something you wanted to do. You had that mentality. And that's, I think personally for me, that's a great thing to hear. And then,
mhm.
as you kind of mentioned on your experience, you drove onto that to really figure out on, as far as on the consultancy and going into the product. That seems to be, we're in such a time right now that, as much as everyone hears security awareness training, whether it's from their insurance provider, whether it's from their business, you know, an employee that's hearing about this, it's always this drone of, you know, why do we have to do this? And what we've seen over the last couple years is that companies have gotten very creative on how they're offering this, and what they're doing to do that. And we'll dive a little bit more into that as well. But Rick, anything you wanted to dive into before we get into more into Tiffanys and with HacWare?
Well, excuse me. I need to apologize. I'm in New Jersey. Thunderstorms today, no power. So once
Oh,
power came, I had to scramble to get everything back on. So I do apologize for being late. And I could not find my cell phone to text you. And this is probably one of the things where we still have to stop relying on technology so much. I need to remember the phone number in my head so I can dial it a different way. But welcome, Tiffany. I do apologize and I didn't want to jump in and, you know, still just, you know, let you go. I want to let you go. So we actually, I don't know if this story was told, but we actually met a couple of months ago, and I listened to Tiffany talk at I Build It. And I sat on one of her on the breakout session she did, and I was really impressed. I said, "Hey, we got to get her on the show. We got to get her, you know, to come and speak to the audience, because I think she has something to say and something to offer." So, again, late, but welcome, Tiffany.
no worries. I was just telling Paco, getting in New York, it's been raining like crazy, so I understand.
Nope, absolutely. So, Tiffany, so with HacWare, right? You know, I think all the managed service providers, IT solutions providers that are listening in, you know, what can you say that, how do you help save managed service providers time, and also being able to help improve their services by offering something like HacWare, or being able to implement something like HacWare to their customers?
Great question. And so time is a huge thing for all of us. And one of the things that we thought about when building this product is like, how can we make the product work for the solution provider versus allowing the solution provider to work the tool, and it's making them, you know, spend so many hours doing something. And so the first and foremost thing is onboarding. So we make it super easy to onboard, where if you have like Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace end users, and we make it easy where you can deploy this out in 10 minutes. It already has all of the users in that directory, and it will sync up with that. So if there's employees who are offboarded, they've left, or there's new employees, the HacWare product's going to immediately detect that there's some new users. And this is important too, because cyber criminals, when a new employee changes their LinkedIn and they say, I'm starting at this new company, they're using that information to send that new employee a phishing email, trying to lure them in to get them to do something, because new employees are so eager and they want to actually, do a good job. And cyber criminals are exploiting that. Same thing with the HacWare platform. As soon as it detects that there's a new user, and then the platform's going to automatically decide, okay, now this is the time to send this employee a simulation, as if they are a new employee. The other thing that makes it easy is the setting up of the phishing simulation. So oftentimes in other platforms, and they're great, you have to go in, figure out what you want to test today, maybe a 50 gift card type of, test. And so you have to personalize it a little bit. That takes time. The HacWare platform learns from real phishing threats. It will determine, okay, this is probably the best test to send to this user at this time. It's going to personalize it and send it out for you. And so a lot of our partners, we're doing a case study, but what we're seeing is some of the other platforms, some partners are spending 40 hours a week. For us, our partners are spending 1 hour a month, and it's just to do reporting. So to pull the reports out, see who's failed the simulations, who's completed the security awareness training. And it's a sticky product where they can just talk about, here's the results, here's what's going on, make some adjustments if they need to. And so we're really seeing like a 40% reduction across all of our partners on that. And then on the training side, so videos that are sent to the employees. Oftentimes, some partners who are sending video content, they don't realize that some employees don't want to take the training. And so you have to spend time reminding them, hey, can you take this training? I need you to take the training so we can try to get our completion rates, better. So this platform automatically reminds every 4 days. And if the organization wants it, it will escalate to the manager of that employee and let them know that they need to take the training. And then you see those trainings get completed. But we try to use automation to help with some of those cumbersome tasks.
Now, is the training predetermined? Basically, is everyone going through the same process, or do you have the ability to change it or set it, or how does that work?
So on the security awareness training, we offer 2 ways. So we offer predefined courses. We offer a lesson plan where you can say, and it's a predefined lesson plan where you can say, I want to put all of my employees into a NIST training lesson plan. And so that means they're going to get maybe password management course, which is 3 minutes or less. 30 days later, they're going to get another course that helps them to stay in compliance with some of those guidelines. But it sets the cadence every 30 days. But you can go in and you can say, actually, I want to send out a training every 2 weeks, or maybe I want to do quarterly trainings. You can go in and modify the cadence of when the courses go out. And then you can also potentially, if you don't want to use our predefined courses, because the way that we do our courses, it's a quiz in the beginning, which is a pop quiz. And then it's a quick 3-minute video or less. And then it ends with a post quiz. You can sort of go in and you can configure how you want your users to take the courses and change it up. And you don't have to go with how we've predefined it.
That's pretty cool. I like the fact that it'll automatically determine a new user and then send them if they're using Office 365. I like that because that saves some legwork for us to get them on the platform. So I
Well, I
think
was just
that's
going to
really
ask you,
good.
Rick, like how long have you like in security awareness training? Because I think all of us are starting to get into being able to offer this as some type of service. And I think the reason for us not offering it is not so much that we didn't feel like we needed it, but the cumbersomeness of implementing it, not only
Right.
for ourselves, but also for our clients, their employees, the amount. And that's why I started off with time, being that it's a time suck to try and get all that going if you don't have it systematized. For you, how long have you been spending on trying to get security awareness training, whether thinking about it, implementing it, or even just communicating it to your clients?
Plenty of hours, because first of all, even just to get it for us in-house,
Mhm.
because you take it for granted as as a solutions provider, you take it for granted that you know everything, but your employees don't necessarily know that. And particularly phishing, it's easy to for people just to click on something. Oh, I didn't realize it wasn't a good idea. And you and I both know, we had this conversation about the client I had who they got hacked because she clicked on what she thought was just an invoice from a vendor of theirs.
Mhm.
So the challenge is twofold, right? One is just is getting buy-in from your clients for them to buy in, then getting buy-in from their employees to do it. And the way I'm having this conversation with my clients now is, again, this is a mandatory thing and you should require it. And I love the fact now, hearing Tiffany say, hey, as long as they have an Microsoft 365 account or an email account, it's going to pick it up and send it to them.
Yep.
So, that takes away a lot of the, selling in and convincing. They pick it up, and I'll say to each one of them, hey, you're going to get a training, you need to complete it. And that's that.
Now, Tiffany, does the platform also integrate with Google Workspace, or is that on the roadmap to possibly integrate with Google Workspace for user automation?
It integrates with Google Workspace. So those two, Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, you will have that automatic syncing with the HacWare platform. And then if you have something that's potentially like on-prem, or you're using like another email platform, we do offer HacWare Open, which you have to import those users in via CSV file. But that is, the management side where you got to deactivate a user when they're no longer there. And so 99% of our users use the Google Workspace or the Microsoft 365 integration.
Gotcha. Now, as far as the content that is being used for the security awareness training, is that animated? Is it being created consistently by your team? How often is that being updated? Can you tell a little bit more about how the content was thought of / brought to the end user to view and engage with?
Yep. So our content currently is animated, and our whole goal is we're trying to make sure that the customer experience, your customers, when they are experiencing cybersecurity, this is probably the first time that they've touched cybersecurity, because a lot of the stuff that you all are doing is like behind the scenes, super technical, but this is what they're touching and experiencing. So we want to make sure that it's something that isn't boring them out of their mind.
Right.
So we're trying to make the content, funny and educational. So typically, even if it's a 3-minute video or if it's a 90-second video, the first part is a scenario. So we're trying to show and walk you through what this scenario looks like. And it's entertaining. The second part is the teaching, where it's trying to teach you how to correct some of that risky behavior. And the way that our content is created is all in-house, even from the characters, because I'm a diverse founder. I'm always trying to think about how can we connect people to the content and they can see something that's relatable. So all of the characters, they start with a sketch. Our animator brings them to life. They're of different backgrounds, age groups. And the other thing that I like is we always, when we put out a new video, we tell the story of how the character was created for those who really want to, know the behind the scenes stories. And so sometimes they'll see a character that looks like somebody that's out there, and we'll tell. And so we try to explain that. And then we put out video content right now every 2 to 4 weeks. And we're planning to really beef that up and try to do every week. But right now it's every 2 to 4 weeks, new video content. And we're working on a deal, which I probably may be able to come back later and talk about how we're going to add some live actor content, which will be entertaining, fun, and still short. But it'll give that diversity of animated content for some of your customers who are okay with that and like that, and then real actors for some of your customers who want to see real people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that, you hit on a point there where you're creating content for those that are going to look, that may see themselves in those videos, right? And being able to have that diverse content and understanding that, not all modules and things are going to look the same, right? And being able to understand that it's going to be relatable. And that's something that's huge. And I think that's really great on being able to do that. You also mentioned being able to do it every 2 to 4 weeks, which is, in my opinion, that's super fast in general.
Oh,
So the
great.
fact that you want to beef that up, that's really great that you're looking into that, and obviously putting a lot of thought into that, right? And being able to have that behind the scenes, which I think that's cool too, for those that are more curious and understanding what is going on as well. Now, for someone who's trying to, maybe they know they've been needing to offer security awareness training, they haven't, they're inspired, they hear from you that they want to go ahead and give it a try, and they think your platform is the one to do so. Do you all have a partner program or an onboarding process that allows them to kind of get like a white glove hand holding to kind of understand on what's best practices on how to offer this, slash just different ideas for them to really implement this, not only for their own current customers, but I've also heard that this is a great prospecting tool as well?
Yeah, so we have a partner program. You can go check it out, hacware.com/MSP. But the entire process, so when an organization decides that they want to partner with us, we try to do a couple things. We assign a partner success manager to that team, and basically what happens there is they're going to make sure that onboarding it's already easy, but we're going to try to make sure that you understand how to onboard. And as a part of the onboarding, we give our partners the ability to sell like a SaaS solution. So you can onboard a customer doing a trial. So if you have that customer and they don't know if they want to kind of go forward with security awareness with you all, you can do a trial. And so the partner success is going to show you how to onboard that customer onto a trial or the full version. And then the other thing is partner success is going to enable your sales teams. And so they're going to be reaching out, trying to make sure that if you need a call script, we have a call script that you can use to reach out to those potential customers. Decks, we create custom decks for our partners, and we also try to help you understand how to best, resell the HacWare platform. You can brand the platform as your own, so white label it and call it your product. It doesn't have to be the HacWare product, and all of your logos can be there. So that makes your brand sticky, because one of the cool things is you talk about Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, right in their email, they're going to have your branding so they can report phishing tests that come from the platform or report suspicious emails, but they're going to continuously see your brand if you go with the white label option. And then the other thing is co-marketing. So we want to make sure that when you want to go to events, or you want to do a joint event with the HacWare platform, we're out there. We want to make sure we can do it physically or virtually, and so that's something that we have in our partner program, and a lot of content. So security awareness is coming up. Security Awareness Month is coming up. We give our partners social media posts that they can, modify and put out every month, just to make sure that they are keeping, their prospects engaged, current customers engaged. And so we're always trying to think outside the box on how we can support our partners. because we know when they win, we win, and so we're all about that.
That sounds really good. It's it's thought out well, and I do like two things. I know sometimes people may not think it's important, but white labeling does help because and like you say, have a sticky brand, and when you tell your customer, hey, we have this training, and they see your logo on it, your name on it, that kind of helps with it as well. So I think that's good. Now for the partner program, I'm looking at your site. There's a trial for the MSPs as well, or how does that work?
Yeah. So the way it typically works, or what we recommend, is we recommend our partners because we want to make sure that you understand how to really kind of go about using this platform and get access to the multi-tenant dashboard. We recommend you going through the demo and get access to the reseller agreement, and when we talk about requirements on our platform. So the reseller agreement allows you to resell HacWare. There's no minimums, but it allows you to understand what the pricing is, how to best utilize the platform. And so once you get access to the multi-tenant platform, all of our partners typically sign themselves up for a 30-day trial. And then that allows them to see the multi-tenant dashboard, all of the reporting. Then they get to see what the customer gets to see. And so that, I believe, we always are trying to push our partners to see everything versus just going with the trial. You can do that 14-day trial on our landing page, but you're not going to be able to really experience all of the product. And you'll only be able to experience Pro. And so when you move to the multi-tenant, you can experience our Pro product, which is unlimited fishing, our Plus, which is fishing and the learning management system, and then Super Fish, which is all of that, including text message-based fishing. You'll be able to try all of that out.
Perfect. And then we have Britta posting on here as well, hacware.com/MSP, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. While we're on the MSP program, while we're on being able to on the free trial, not sure if you can comment on it, but can you talk a little bit more on the commitment, minimums, and pricing, if able? I know that with pricing, it's a little bit hard because we are September 22nd of 2022. So for those that are watching this later on, pricing may not be the case. But can you talk a little bit more about commitment and minimums to just join and be a part of HacWare?
Yep. So we offer 3 tiers for our partner, and it's based on your volume of seats that you have onto the platform. So everybody starts out at a tier 1, which means you can just have access to the reseller agreement and you haven't onboarded anyone yet. So you're at 0. And we've had partners that stayed at 0, and then they were able to work with our partner success and go after new business and scale up. And so we don't charge our partners anything to get access to the multi-tenant dashboard. But when they're at a tier 1, I can talk about revenue opportunity. So when you're at a tier 1 partner, you are typically seeing at a minimum 20 to 25% resale value. And this is off the MSRP price that we recommend, but partners in different geographic region can charge a lot more. Tier 2, we're seeing about 30 to 35%. And then tier 3, we're seeing about 58% resale. And so to tier 1, you have 500 seats or less. Tier 2, it's 1,000 seats or less. And then tier 3, it's between 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000. And then we have enterprise pricing. So if you are, reselling to, a lot larger organizations, then you're seeing about a 78% margin on your stuff.
Gotcha. Perfect. Awesome. Rick, any lasting thoughts before we have Tiffany give us her final words on anything we may not have covered for the episode, since we were close to the top of the half hour?
We had this conversation a lot about, even just at the show, we talked about stacks and what you should be offering customers on a minimum. And how I feel about it is, I know it's a harder product, but security awareness training should be a minimum for every client you have. It just should be something that, the education that you're giving them, and in the end, it helps not only the client, but the customer, but it helps you because it saves you on a lot of, trouble later on and having to, fix something that they missed, or, that clicking on something that they shouldn't have, that, we could have easily taught them what not to do. So, my feeling on it is, whether it's HacWare or any other, security awareness training you're familiar with or you prefer, it should be part of your baseline stack to help you, grow your business and help protect your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. We did get one question that came in through on the YouTube channel side. Tiffany, are there any contracts when they join HacWare?
The only thing that they have to do is look at the reseller agreement and sign that. It just helps you. It's basically the term of service for using the platform and reselling it. And so we just want to make sure that you understand, the guidelines, not to abuse, how to resell it, but there isn't any contracts. Right. So the thing I want to actually mention on that, let me mention, when you decide to onboard a tenant onto the platform, you can decide to do two things. You can do month to month. So you can onboard those tenants and you're paying us monthly. And then if you decide that this tenant no longer wants to go through security training, then you no longer have to pay us. You just remove them off the platform. A lot of our partners are doing annual contracts with their customers. And so we offer annual contracts for our partners. And so this gives them the ability to see better margins as well, because they are getting that annual pricing. They're seeing, in which they're typically paying for about 10 months instead of 12 months. And so we do have that annual contract.
Gotcha. Perfect. Month to month, annual contracts. Sounds very reasonable on quite a bit of a lot of offerings that have as well. So perfect. Tiffany, I know we ran through a bunch really fast. Again, really appreciate you coming on here on the show. Is there anything that we may not have touched on or that you would like to share with the audience before we sign off?
Yeah, I want to promote our Give Back initiative. So we're trying to raise $5,000 this month and next month for Girls Who Code. We're trying to do it for hackers, for vets, and the Cybercrime Support Network. We're doing this a couple ways. So for MSPs, solution providers who refer a partner to our program, we're going to donate $100 to those charities. And then we have the demo for donations. And so if you demo the HacWare platform with us, we're going to donate $5 to one of those charities of your choice. So you can learn about that by going to HacWare.com/MSP. And I think Britta's going to add that into the chat, the link.
Perfect. Yep. We'll go ahead and put that back up there as well. And we'll make sure to have that in the show notes for those listening to the audio version as well. Rick, I know you gave some lasting thoughts on security awareness training, how those that should be implementing it. Any lasting words before we go ahead and sign off?
No, I think we're good today. I'm a little discombobulated from my morning, but Tiffany, I do want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I'm sure our audience appreciates it. I think what you have to offer is very beneficial to the community, and this is why we wanted you here. And I thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and really excited to hear a little bit more about how you all have young kids who are looking up to you all, and maybe they'll follow in you all's footsteps.
But anyway, I wish.
Tiffany, I know we shared a lot of great links. We got a great info. For those that want to maybe possibly reach out to you, pick your brain on some things, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? Or is that the HacWare.com/MSP link is probably the best way to get a hold of you?
They can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just look for Tiffany Ricks, and Twitter, Tiffany Ricks as well.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
her LinkedIn is in the show notes as well. So
perfect. Yep. We'll make sure we have that as well. Awesome. Well, everyone, really appreciate you tuning in today. I hope you got a lot of great value. Again, head over to that link that we have. We'll have all the show notes updated as well. If you want to hear more content like this, tune in every Tuesday and Thursday. Watch the video podcast on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged, facebook.com/MSP Unplugged, hashtag MSP Unplugged. If you're going on LinkedIn, like, subscribe, hit the notification button wherever you have it to notify whenever a new episode is available. You can always also take us on the go on your favorite podcatcher app. We are on Amazon Music, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. Once again, we thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.